we all know that in college football, this product can exist on its own. And for so long, we've been told, well, you can't go up against the big bad NFL. And that's what's dictated so many of these decisions with the calendar. But if you're saying, well, there's a problem, what's the solution? Well, the solution then to avoid the NFL is just getting out earlier and doing so in a way that, yes, it might conflict with NFL preseason. So what? Who really cares? So, I'd be in favor of that.
Think about that. You had 2 weeks or maybe even 3 weeks leading up before the NFL even played a meaningful game. Another Dooley Noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Okay, and welcome into another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging and coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator studio here at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Coach Spurrier will not be here today. He is a speaking engagement in, I think, Fort Lauderdale. And I said, fine. We got Connor O'Gara is going to come on. He does a great job. He loves college football as much as I do. So we're going to talk a lot of college football with him. Also this week, we're going to have Matt Hayes Thursday, and then Coach Spurrier will be back Monday. He already told me he'd be back Monday. And then Peter Burns after that. Jesse Palmer is getting ready to come on very soon. We've talked to him. He just got back from vacation, so we're trying to line up a lot of good guests. And, again, when we get to the summer, we're going to try to make it still interesting to be part of this show. And you all are part of this show. You listen, you watch. You're the reason we keep it going, the reason it keeps going strong. And we're having a lot of fun with it, and I hope you are too. Hopefully you're having fun with all the other stuff I'm doing too. I don't know why I've gotten so crazy lately, writing for the Main Street Daily News, writing for Patreon. I'm going to keep it all up, and we'll keep going. Let's get to our Money Medals. Starting 5. MoneyMedals.com is your home for gold and silver purchases, one of the largest distributors in all of the United States. 2 Gator grads are running it, and you can reach them at 1-800-800-1865 or at MoneyMedals.com. All right, let's start with softball because they were kind of saved the weekend because it wasn't the best weekend we've had here in Gainesville. And that's what I always talk to people about this. I go, look, if you're elite in multiple sports, especially in the spring, which is where Florida tends to dominate, say you're great in swimming. Well, yeah, they're great in swimming, great in they're not so great in tennis, but they used to be. Great in softball, great in lacrosse, great. All these sports, you're going to have bad weekends where everybody's at home and they still lose. You're going to have weekends where everybody goes on the road and wins. It's just the way sports is. It's unscripted. But softball kind of saved a weekend. I mean, obviously I wasn't thrilled with the way the gymnastics went, scoring-wise, but we'll leave that for later. And baseball really pooped the bed. It's the only way I can put it. Softball got it done. Now, I told you on Thursday, I never say you got to get a sweep. I never say that. It's hard to get sweeps, and we found that out in this weekend with Florida softball. However, Keegan Rothrock came through. Florida got she's now 11-3, by the way, in SEC games. Florida's 43-6, 16-5 in the SEC, and FSU on Wednesday. And then they play UCF. They do a home and away with them, so they'll have a kind of time off before the last series with Georgia. Right now, Alabama and Oklahoma are tied for first in the SEC at 15-3. Florida is 16-5. So they're 2 games or a game and a half back, and we'll see what happens. It's just going to be fun. It's just going to be fun to watch for me. And it's been fun. I mean, this is a team that's 43-6, and we're like looking at their negatives. And I can't help it because I know what Oklahoma City's like. I know what you've got to have to be there. You've got to have an elite pitcher. I'm not sure they have an elite pitcher. They have a really good pitcher. I've said this before. I'm not gonna bore you with it anymore. But anyway, that was, to me, the best story of the weekend was Florida softball getting the 2 out of 3 and coming back strong the final day. I actually was playing golf while I listened to it because that's the way I am. It's the way I operate. Let's get to number 2, which is I did want to stay with the softball theory because I got a text from Steve Wendig, my friend, of course, who does our Olympic Gator of the weekend. We'll get to that in a minute. But he was talking about, did you hear this, that the SEC is moving the SEC tournament to Huntsville? Basically, it's Madison, Alabama. I did not know that there was a stadium in Huntsville. I didn't know anything about it. So I did a little research. For those of you who want to know, this starts next year. This year it's at Lexington. Next year it'll be in Madison, Alabama. It's a minor league stadium. They'll move stuff in and do all that. It won't feel like, to me, anytime you bring in the fences and make it look like you're playing softball in a minor league stadium, you've desecrated the sport. I don't think it's going to last the 4 years of the contract, to be honest, or 5 years of the contract. But here's what the SEC is a big believer in. You'll do this. You won't charge us any rent. You'll give us skyboxes. You'll do this, blah, blah, blah. It'll make it. And I also get this part of it. Let's say it's at Kentucky, and Kentucky gets knocked out the first 2 days of the tournament. Nobody's going to the games. I mean, people aren't just going to see softball. They're going to see their softball team. That's where softball is, which is fine. So we'll see what happens there. Again, like I said, it's at Kentucky this year. So how do you feel if you're Ole Miss right now? Ole Miss was supposed to host next year. They should go, wait, you got to pay us something. Well, you weren't going to make any money on it anyway. Ole Miss was supposed to host this year, then Missouri, then Mississippi State. They just stuck it right up their butts. Anyway, I thought it was an interesting story, and let's move along to number 3 on our Money Medals starting 5, and that is baseball, which I don't really want to talk about too much. Really bad weekend for Florida. Started out great. I watched every pitch of that game, the Thursday night game. And it was a great win for Florida. I was fist pumping and everything. They turn around and just hand away 2 games, But it's just like third baseman, I think it was Colton Schwartz at the time. Might have been the other, Colt Myers. One of those Colts. Anyway, drops a pop-up. I mean, it was a hard play, but he should have let Brendan Lawson catch the ball. He drops it, scores a run, ties the game. Then Liam Peterson gives up a 2-run homer. Now, you've got to pitch around mistakes. I'm a big believer in pitching around things and playing around things. Now, it's easy for me to say. I don't have to do it. I play golf. When I play golf, I usually don't play around bad shots. I play right to the level of my bad shots and start shanking and everything. So, but I'm just saying these elite athletes need to do that, and they have not done that. Florida certainly, those 2 losses could have been resolved. I mean, obviously the throw away there, and then just, again, let it get to them. Guys got to be tougher than that. Got to be tougher. I know Sully's very frustrated right now. Or Sully, as Robbie likes to call him. Anyway, that was brutal. And Florida plays JU on Tuesday, and then A&M at home. So let's go. It's time. You're in good shape. You're going to still be in the tournament. You're probably going to host the first round. But to host 2 rounds, you need to really come on strong right now and start winning games. You've got enough pitching. I know that it's not ideal, the pitching they have, the setup. Barbieri maybe comes back, changes that. But, I mean, it's not like he's going to save the program. But Aiden King is unbelievable. Liam Peterson, just don't know. I mean, every time he goes out, you're like, he's doing good, and then he stops doing good, and then and then Sandifer's been kind of up and down. It's kind of like the season. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe I'm more frustrated than anybody else. Let's go ahead and get to number 4 and get off baseball for a minute. and talk about gymnastics, which, again, nobody was happy with the result there. But don't forget, Florida made it to the national finals, and they finished third in the country. Third in the country. Not 40th, third in the country. That's pretty good. You know? Your basketball team didn't finish third in the country this year. Your football team certainly didn't. They finished third in the country. All I'm trying to say is nobody was happy on Saturday watching that. We watched it, Karen and I. But remember, it was a great year. It was really a great year. Won the SEC. And I don't want the discussion about peaking too early, and I had that. I'm the one who brought it up first, I think. I worry that they peaked too early. I think they just had a couple of wobbles. Not only that, I can tell you that podium gymnastics is different than regular gymnastics. The gymnastics you see in Gainesville. It's a raised podium. It has a different feel to it. But everybody competes on it, so it's no excuse. I'm just saying maybe that's why the scores were so low, and everybody kept freaking out about how low Florida's scores were. Well, everybody's scores were pretty low. Anyway, the SEC goes 1, 2, 3, Oklahoma, LSU, Florida. If Florida couldn't win, I didn't want LSU to win. So Oklahoma, I congratulate you. I think it's the 8th one they've won in the last 12 years. Man, they got a dynasty going there. Let's wrap it up on our Money Medals starting 5 by talking about Steve and Christine Wendig and our good friends at Bossart Realty and all the work they do over there. They sponsor, Steve and Christine do, our Gator Olympic Athlete of the Weekend. And this comes to you as somebody who's in one of the Olympic sports. And in this case, I had a lot of options. We know that. But I went with Boo DeWitt is who I went with. Boo DeWitt, as Florida won again in lacrosse. She had 4 goals, led the team with 4 goals, and her name's Boo. That's all you need to know. If your name's Boo, you're going to get on my list. Saturday, they play UC Davis. I think it's a noon game, and that to be outright winners. But they've already clinched the league, the Big 12. And they don't get a lot of love because it's the Big 12, and everybody goes, well, there's not an SEC. So, I mean, in lacrosse. But anyway, the Big 12 championship starts April 30th out there at the Diz. So if you want to go see them, that'll be fun to watch. But want to make sure we give congratulations to lacrosse and to Boo DeWitt, who is our Steve and Christine Wendig, Bossart Realty, Gator Olympic Athlete of the Weekend. Let us take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk to Connor O'Gara about college football, and then a little bit later we'll talk to Robbie Andrew about Yes, No, Where, Maybe. Got a lot of other things to talk about. This is another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging and coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios.
Give me 60 seconds and I'll show you why you should be buying silver and how to get started. Recent price spikes in groceries, healthcare, gasoline, steel, and lumber tell the story of inflation, as do raging bull markets in equities and housing. As the reality of all this inflation sinks in, investors will be acting quickly to diversify and protect themselves, their families, and their assets. That's why we're offering our Silver Starter Kit to help you get started in holding tangible wealth. This mix of our most recommended forms of silver includes 9 silver coins, totaling 4 troy ounces of fine silver. These pure silver coins have a low bid-ask spread, the difference between the price you pay to buy and the price you receive to sell. Low transaction costs are one reason Investopedia calls Money Metals the best dealer in America. Don't waste any more time. Start protecting your savings today with physical precious metals at moneymetals.com/go.
Adams Rib Company has been a staple of Gainesville for more than a decade and a staple of the Dooley house ever since Kelsey's teeth came in. The first time I walked into Adams, I told my daughter that the green beans are always a test of a great barbecue restaurant, and they were perfect. You know about the ribs that melt in your mouth, and my favorite, the turkey plate. But be sure to go in on Fridays for Nana's Fish Nuggets. They will melt in your mouth. Adams Rib Co., a Gainesville great.
Meldon Law has been serving personal injury victims since 1971. In those days, Jeffrey Meldon's presence as an attorney in the music scene dubbed him with the nickname the Hippie Attorney. And although times have changed, two things haven't: our commitment to bettering our community by helping the injured,
Albert, are you ready to go to the game?
and our love for the Florida Gators.
If you bleed orange and blue, Meldon Law is the firm for you.
Okay, welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging and coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. It is a great pleasure to bring on our guest, Connor O'Gara from the OG Podcast. He does a great job, and I can tell you there aren't that many people that I think love football, college football, as much as I do. Connor may be one of them. We do love our football, don't we? We cannot wait for we have a countdown in our heads. We don't even need to write it down. We have it in our heads.
It's always up there, and I'm always thinking about how many months do we have until fall. And look, we don't wish away time in this life. That's not something we do. Life is too precious to be able to fast forward to fall. But yeah, there are certain Saturdays that pique our interest more than others. And let's just say if I could have a full slate of college football as opposed to watching whatever HGTV Property Brothers thing that shows up on my TV, I would definitely do it. I'm one of those people. But yeah, I mean, the season can't get here soon enough.
Yeah, I'm the kind of guy that during the summer, I love it when they're showing like an old game, not just a recent game, but like an old game, and I'm not sure who won, and I'm into it. Okay, I'm invested. It's Arkansas, Texas, 79 or whatever, you know. All right, because I just like the game. If some people like the game, some people don't get it. That's fine. We are here for you, though. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with college football going forward now because of what we're dealing with expansion and not expansion, but with the expansion of the playoff. When is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? There's a lot of things that I've just been trying to say, hey, look, there's a simple answer. They've already told you we don't want conference championship games anymore. Many people have told you. I love them. I don't like that if they go away, and it sounds like they are. But starting the season earlier sounds like a good idea. I would start it another week earlier. I'm okay with that.
I agree with you. And I think that there's been some growing momentum towards that. And there are a lot of people that are looking at this calendar going, this is a problem. Like, this is way too late. I can't imagine a season going any later than last year's did. And look, I'm coming to you as an Indiana grad who went down to that game in Miami, looking forward to that more than any single sporting event that I think I've ever been to in my entire life. And even after all the confetti is falling and we're processing how in the world did this just happen with Indiana going 16-0, I did have the thought to myself of, this is too late. This is just too late. We shouldn't be doing this in late January. It's just silly. Let's start the season earlier. Let's do this in mid-August. If you can do it in high school, you can do it at the college level. And I understand there are places in college football, certain Gainesville being one of them, wherein it would be really, really hot. You know what? It's still going to be really, really hot in early September. So if that's the biggest pushback to this whole thing, I'm not buying it.
No, that's the thing I always tell people. I go, look, it's going to be hot. They need to get, and that's what Florida's doing. They're putting more than $1 billion into renovating the stadium so that it is more comfortable and you have more access to getting cool zones and everything like that. So, but the bottom line is look, if we want college football to end before the NFL gets really interesting, it's got to keep moving the other way, not later. It's got to move earlier.
Especially if we're doing the OTAs thing now with camp in the summer, and if you can move that process up and we're changing kind of how we go about that, then it makes a lot more sense to be able to do that. And I understand that you want to be able to get in this transfer portal era, you want to make sure that you guys have enough time to be able to get on campus and get acclimated with everyone. if you do this right, then you can at least have everybody on campus for, more than a month to be able to make sure that everybody's on the same page. Everybody kind of knows one another. There are different things that quarterbacks and receivers could do if they're not familiar with one another. Like there's a way to be able to get this done. It's just the willingness to be able to do so, because we all know that in college football, this product can exist on its own. And for so long, we've been told, well, you can't go up against the big bad NFL. And that's what's dictated so many of these decisions with the calendar. But if you're saying, well, there's a problem, what's the solution? Well, the solution then to avoid the NFL is just getting out earlier and doing so in a way that, yes, it might conflict with NFL preseason. So what? Who really cares? So, I'd be in favor of that.
Think about that. You had 2 weeks, or maybe even 3 weeks, leading up before the NFL even played a meaningful game. By then, I think you would have drawn more people in. I mean, it's the gamblers that we are interested in drawing, right? You got to get them on board, and if they get on board, everybody follows.
Yeah, week 0, whatever you want to call it, like just middle of August, college football starts. Even less of a countdown for sickos like us.
I've hated the week 0 from day one. I was like, well, if it's week 0, how does a game count? Is it a 0? Are you still 0-0? That's the stupidest thing ever, right?
Here's
it's
the thing,
week
though.
1.
You can't call it week 1 though, because then everybody else is playing week 2, and then they're starting week 2. See,
I agree with you on that. So my thing is, do what we're doing now, what they're going to do, and have this started earlier, and that is week 1. But if anybody calls it week 0 from that after 2027, I'm going to get mad.
Agreed.
And you don't want to see me angry, I can tell you that. We always have a good time with Connor O'Gara. He's coming to you on the Big Mills Cheesesteaks Zoom line. I do want to talk to you about the 5 for 5. Or 5 for Fighting is what we should call it. Remember, that was a group at one point, I think, yeah.
It was only one guy. Did you know that? It's only one guy, but he called himself 5 for Fighting because it sounded like a group and because it was like going to get him more gigs. But yeah, just one dude, 5 for Fighting.
Oh, what was their one-hit wonder? I can't remember.
100 Years, I believe, was the song. You hear it every time you go to Publix.
Yeah.
It's on.
Right, as I'm looking for chicken cutlets. I know that, yeah. But anyway, this is, again, been proposed, 5 years to play 5. You only get 1 transfer for free. And I know that all the Trump filibuster and everything. But the bottom line is, if the first person that challenges it in court is probably going to win. Somehow this has got to get resolved, though. Because to me, the problem with college football is not NIL, it is the portal.
I think that there's a growing sentiment that this is not sustainable. I mean, everybody's been acknowledging that basically since the start of NIL, that, hey, this is probably not what we're going to be doing 10, 15 years from now. And it's just getting to that resolution, whatever that might look like. And yes, in theory, the 5 and 5 for Fighting, however you want to frame it, it would make sense to sort of get away from this craziness. But you're right. I think that there is real antitrust momentum if you just take this thing to court. And that's the current problem that we're having, is that all of these grievances are being solved in state courts. And no matter who you are, if you're Trinidad Chambliss, if you're Joey Aguilar or Owen Heineke, like whoever you are, you can just go to your state court and be able to present your very unique situation and then just let them hear it. And it is the NCAA's undoing in a lot of ways, because let's not forget that when they essentially abandoned the redshirt rule and they announced that they were doing that for transfers in 2021, because remember, that was the big legislation that was put into place and it coincided with NIL. So we kind of lumped those two things together.
And a lot of that had to do with COVID too. Yeah.
Right. Yes. And they kind of decided like, hey, we kind of need to open up the floodgates a little bit more. They did so and admitted in the press release that they were overwhelmed with the amount of waiver requests that they would get, and they simply couldn't process all of them. And so the NCAA was basically saying, this thing's kind of gotten away from us. We don't want to hear all these cases. We surrender. Like, we've got Yeah, like we're tired of just getting dragged for, this case not being resolved and that case not being resolved. So the whole thinking with the NCAA is, well, we need just to get, federal legislation for all of this stuff. The problem is that if you're operating under a different, business model than federal legislation, then good luck getting them to approve any one thing that you're trying to do. So it's all still going to be a mess, even if this 5-and-5 rule is being put into place. I want to see what it looks like when that first case inevitably goes to court, because remember, agents and even schools themselves, whether they admit it or not, would push back against something like that.
Absolutely. Hey, by the way, I wanted to tell you, you're in a weird place in your life, because I'm sure as a Indiana grad, you have never said defending national champs. But I will tell you this, after that Miami game, I'm not a big Miami fan. That may surprise you. I have an Indiana T-shirt. I should have worn it today. I really should have. But I do own one, yes. I went and ordered it right away. That was a big win for me. So thank you very much.
Do you have the script Indiana, or is it like a national championship shirt?
I got the block Indiana. Just regular block Indiana. Looks great. I like
the block IU, a classic logo. Really hasn't changed over time. Look, I know that there are a lot of different crimsons, I think is the plural way to say that, across college football that are more historically notable. Alabama, Oklahoma, just to name a couple. Arkansas fans would like to chime in and say that. I think winning a national championship changes things.
Not lately.
Look, it is something that I'm trying to get used to, and it still hasn't even fully sunk in. It's like the type of thing that you can witness in person, and you can see all the different things that are said and written about your school, and then you could still have these reminders in which you're like, wait a minute. Indiana, defending national champion. Like, wait a minute. Other teams are having to talk about Indiana football going into the season, and not in some sort of a dismissive way. Like, hey, is Indiana going to be, early 2010s Alabama? Like, is that the type of thing that is on the table? Yeah, it's a bizarre world that we're living in. I say it with a lot of things in this life that we're living right now. These are not normal times, and there's no better reflection than Indiana being the defending national champs.
And I know there's a lot, you'll listen to a lot of radio shows and they'll go, well, let's look at Iowa's schedule. Well, they got Indiana. Oh, that's going to be, before it was like, okay, that's a W, But
yeah. It's totally changed. Like, I've talked to coaches about this who have acknowledged that there's you just can't move past it at all in the way that you once could. And even for the Rutgers of the world, who could count on getting a win against Indiana, being like, hey, look, we're going to might be a 1-7 year. We might be 1-8 in Big Ten play this year, but we got Indiana at home. Like, all right, at least we got that one. No longer is that the case.
All right. Well, that's enough Big Ten talk. Let's finish up with talking a little SEC. I mean, I want to know what you think about Florida, but also who you see as the favorite in the Southeastern Conference this year.
Yeah, I think to answer the favorite question, I think that question's more open-ended than it's been in a long time.
Yeah,
I think when SEC Media Days comes to Florida for the very first time, and it's in Tampa this year, which how about that? That's a little bit crazy to think. I think that there is going to be a lot of disagreement. I think there's a real case that Texas is going to be the preseason favorite in the conference, and not just because of Arch Manning, but the addition of pieces like Cam Coleman. They have added a couple 1,000-yard backs from the transfer portal from power conference schools. They've made a lot of big-time additions on the defensive side of the ball with a ton of production to replace. And, by the way, Will Muschamp is now the head coach of the defense. A bold move by Steve Sarkisian. There are a lot of different things, a lot of different moving pieces with Texas. And so Texas is going to be a team that's going to generate a lot of that buzz. Georgia's still looking up going, hey guys, we won the SEC championship last year. And, we're still the team that's won this thing the most of anybody in the SEC in the 2020s. Why shouldn't we be the favorite? We've got a returning starting quarterback. We have all this young talent that's going to take the next step on defense this next year. So I think they're going to be part of it. And then, by the way, what about the team that was 20 seconds away from playing for a national championship, Ole Miss? Because last I checked, they still have Pete Golding, the guy who beat Kirby Smart on extra rest. They were able to get Trinidad Chambliss back with one of those state-resolved cases over eligibility. They bring back Kejuan Lacey, who had 24 rushing touchdowns last year. And they have a lot of those key pieces on the defensive side of the ball, they lost a couple late to LSU, but you're looking at this going, man, this is kind of all over the place. And then, what if LSU? What if LSU just ends up
that's
being
the other
like,
one. Yeah, LSU.
right? Like all the work that Lane Kiffin did in the transfer portal. Yes, we poke fun at Lane. It's been very well documented, but like there's a reason we're talking about Lane is because his team last year was pretty darn good. And his Ole Miss team was 11-1 when he was the head coach. And we know what they went on to do without him in the college football playoffs. So all those things are going to factor into this discussion. And it's just so much more wide open, even though we're living in a time in which Alabama and Georgia are the only SEC teams who have won a conference title in the 2020s. We need some new blood. If you want to talk about like making the SEC championship like not fade away in the 2020s, I think some new blood would do it some good.
Well, and then you were talking, you didn't even mention A&M and Oklahoma. That are, those are playoff teams from last year. So, yeah, I think it is wide open. Just to before we let you go, and I appreciate your time, Connor. You're doing a great job as always, and we need to get you on during football season. Your first impressions of what you've seen, maybe from afar, of John Sumrall, and I'll just tell you mine are that he's doing all the right things, but the last guy did a lot of right things. But unless you can win games, it's not going to work.
Preaching to the choir on that. Preaching to the choir. I've been saying for a little bit now, it almost feels like John Sumrall's team handed him a sheet of all the Billy Napier no-nos of here's everything that he did wrong that either didn't work on the field, upset the fan base, didn't sit well in the media. Here's the list. Go do the opposite of all of that. And he has, to his credit. And I do think that John Sumrall is checking a lot of those early boxes. He's been really accessible to the media, which make of that what you will. But there's clearly a concerted effort to change around the vibe. Because I looked at that Florida team as it was being run off the field by Tennessee, losing at home to the Vols for the first time in over 2 decades. I'm not sure if you'd ever brought that up before or anything. But looking at that team and going, this is a dumpster fire. I don't know what they're going to, what the new coach is going to have, like what the situation is going to be. And then you look up and you realize, man, he made a big time hire on the offensive side of the ball to bring in Buster Faulkner, a guy that many people think is the key to Georgia Tech's recent success. You bring in a defensive coordinator in Brad White, who's already really established in the SEC with what he did at Kentucky. And this team, in Bill Connolly's percentage of returning defensive production, is number 1 in America. That's with John Sumrall and Brad White running that defense. So yes, we have questions. What's it going to look like with quarterback, the Aaron Philo, Tramel Jones Jr. battle? I think that's going to really continue deep into fall camp. Even if Philo gets the first chance, I think that leash might be a little bit shorter with what Tramel Jones has shown. But you bring back those guys, you bring back like the guys that they have at wide receiver. And oh, by the way, Jaden Baugh, who could end up being the best running back in college football. He's checked so many of those boxes. But I'm looking up going, yeah, like they could still probably go 7-5, and that would be that'd be fine though. That'd be fine. I think that'd be fine for Florida to change around the overall
That's where
move.
Florida is. They're saying, can we go back to the Zook years? 8-4, 7-5. Those are the good old days.
There's something to be said for that, of just the expectations going in, year out. It would be received so differently, obviously, with Zook and what he was, the situation he inherited post Spurrier and all that. And you know that better than anybody. But like, I just think that John Sumrall was brought in to do a very, very specific job. And it was kind of simply stop making Florida the butt of the joke. To his credit, he's done that so far. Can he do that when the games count? That's the next question.
Well, I remember that play that when Muschamp was there where the guys blocked each other, they're the same team, and they got a first down on the play, and I said, you need to run that play more. But I think I said Sumrall got the job because he could count to 11. The last guy couldn't. So.
And look, it's like I think Billy Napier is going to do just fine at James Madison, a job in which the last 2 coaches, Bob Chesney, Kurt Signetti, both of them have done pretty well for themselves before they moved on to Big Ten jobs. But like there were just so many glaring issues, and the play calling from an offensive standpoint, that's going to be better. I don't know that it's always going to be this flawless schematic,
but it
just
can't be
mastermind.
Worse.
It can't be worse. And like people were even saying that coming off of the great finish that they had to 24 is like schematically speaking, they're just still not quite there. And that's going to be an issue. So I think being able to check some of those early boxes for John Summerall is just so important. It's all about proof of concept in year one. And, to his credit, he's done a lot of the things that he needed to do this offseason.
And he's done it. He's been more visible in the community. He's been at a lot of events, and he's doing the right thing. And I agree with you on that. Connor, I could talk to you all day, but I'm going to let you go. I appreciate your time and appreciate you coming on the show. And make sure you check him out at the OG Kickoff. And you can find that. You can find that pretty much anywhere, right?
Yeah, you can find it anywhere. And one of the things that we've recently been doing, we did It Just Meant More, which was recapping classic games. I actually texted you because we recapped the 96 classic Florida at Tennessee. Florida fans, you want to relive that one. We do like all these different categories. If you ever watched like the rewatchables on The Ringer, it's very similar to that, but for SEC football games. It was something we did for the last 8 weeks. So we've got some classic games up there as well. Subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Subscribe on YouTube, Instagram, all those places.
I can tell you this. I didn't tell you this story. As we're going to the game, because we stayed out there at that Hilton, by the airport. As we're driving into the game, it's me and Robbie and a couple other friends of ours. I think Robbie's brother was there. And they were listening to them breaking down the secondary versus the wide receivers. And I'd been there a whole week. And I went, turn the effing radio off. I don't want to hear about this game anymore. I want to see it played. That's when you're at a big game, when you're tired of hearing about it.
They called it the biggest sporting event in the history of the state of Tennessee. I mean, like I know we kind of look at some of these early season games and it's kind of more about the buildup, but the buildup for that was so good. And it kind of lasted with the impact of what it meant, obviously, for Florida and winning a national championship that year, Peyton not being able to get over the hump, but just an iconic game. And I would encourage everyone to go listen back to the podcast that we did on it.
Connor O'Gara, he's the best. We appreciate him, and we will be back with more of another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios here at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill right after this break.
By now, you heard about the Florida Legends Experience and Gala, featuring Gator Heisman greats Tim Tebow, Danny Warfel, and Steve Spurrier, all in one place at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Imagine catching a pass or taking a handoff from a Heisman winner, all while supporting Isaiah 117 to help provide safe, loving homes for children in need. Then enjoy an unforgettable evening at the Gala, filled with great food and lasting memories. Don't miss this historic event. Find out how you and your business can get involved at fllegends.com. That's fllegends.com.
All right, it may be a new year, but it doesn't mean you have to back off any of your goals as far as losing weight. I know I've been working even harder on it, and of course I get an assist from BMI TeleMed. They help us out with our New Year's resolutions, even if I've already broken 2 of them. Not the food ones, though. Weight loss is your goal. Get with BMI TeleMed. They use GLP-1 medications, and they are individualized, and that's the great thing. I've been through this, and Charlie, just talking to him, it was so great to make him understand, and he understood what I was doing. It's not about just losing weight. It is about keeping it off. You know that. We're all excited about the new year, and we're going to lose weight, but when you lose it in the first month, then you got to keep going. BMI TeleMed is sensible. It's straightforward. It's affordable. No contracts or hidden costs. BMI TeleMed is donating $1 for every pound you lose to the Florida Victorious Foundation. So go Gators. Join the listeners on this podcast who've already lost over 600 pounds. Are you kidding me? I'm 60 of them right there. All right, contact BMI TeleMed today at 727-383-1677.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
Okay, welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Appreciate Conor O'Gara for coming on. Now it's time for us to go to Yes, No, Where, Maybe, brought to you by Big Mill's Cheesesteak. Robbie Andrew is joining us. Robert A. Andrew, how are you?
Hey, Patrick, how are you?
I'm doing good. Did you have a good weekend?
Yeah, unfortunately, I turned the golf off thinking it was over on the front nine. I didn't know it went to a playoff.
Yeah, I kind of joined it late, so I got to see the playoff. But
Yeah.
yeah,
But it sounds like the fans were jerks again.
they are. I mean,
Chanting USA again, against the guy that's trying to win a tournament. So
that's why every tournament should be the Masters. People
exactly.
just nobody says a word. You can't even have cell phones. Calcavecchia got kicked out for having a cell phone.
Yeah, decorum.
Yeah,
Do the right thing.
But and you can say, for people who go, like these guys throw passes with 1 million people and the coach is yelling at them and everything. I go, they grew up that way. When you grow up with a quiet place, he's got a 4-foot putt. It's in. That's
And Augusta is golf's cathedral, so that's why it's so.
I love it. I love it there. How many did you get to cover?
3, I think it was.
9 for me.
The
I tripled
Faldo
you.
ones.
Oh, you were there when he lost to Norman choked?
To Mize.
96?
Yeah.
Oh, you were there for the Mize one.
Yeah, 80. It was 88 or 87.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one.
You can't remember what day you were born.
I can't.
All right, let's get to Yes, No, Where, Maybe, brought to you by our friends at Big Mill's Cheesesteak. Street dining done the right way. Go over there, and it's a beautiful day to sit outside and have a cheesesteak, have any kind of sausage dog or anything like that. It is a great place, and if you go there, say, hey, you listen to the podcast, you get free fries with your order. Number 1, Robbie Andrew. Yes, No, Where, Maybe. You were worried about the Mets coming into you're actually going there, and they've lost 11 straight.
Am I worried?
Yes.
No, absolutely not, Pat. I mean, I'm not worried about the Mets. I'm worried about the Twins, who have their own little losing streak going on right now. And the last time we talked, the Twins were 11-7, and I predicted, this isn't going to last. And of course, now they're 11-11. They've lost every game since. So saw it coming. So no, it doesn't. Mets losing streak doesn't bother me at all. The Twins doesn't really bother me much either. So whoever wins. It doesn't matter to me.
Well, I thought you were going to say, I want to keep them down. I want to destroy them. Get that attitude in your clubhouse, because I want to beat them. I want the Mets to get beaten down. Believe me.
I know. I'm not. I don't like the Mets either. But at this point, I'm becoming apathetic about baseball again, which is the way I started the year out.
Okay, Robbie, number 2 on you.
Nothing on that one.
Okay. Yes, No, Where, Maybe, Robbie. The Florida baseball team is playing Michael Jackson defense, and that they play with one glove on for no apparent reason.
Apparently so, Pat. I guess that's a big yes on that one. I mean, didn't they have more errors and hits or runs in the weekend series against Auburn, something like that? Which
44
is totally
errors in 41 games. Yeah.
This is so unlike an O'Sully team that, playing shoddy in the field and can't hit. And, the minute you think they've turned things around, beating ranked teams, they turn around and do this, lose a midweek game, then lose 2 or 3 at home to Auburn. It's like, it's a hard team to figure out. He must be going crazy.
I think he is, and I think I am watching him.
And defense and bullpen are just, it's like, look terrible.
Yeah.
Hard to win games when you got that going on.
But that's something I wrote for in my Main Street News daily news column, Robbie, just so I want to give it a plug there, that, the idea would be for Sully in the past, he would say, I'm going defense first. And I just don't know that because he's got some guys injured. I don't know that he's got better players to put in there defensively.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that it is what it is with his team right now. And, I don't know what you can do about it. You practice and work on your defense, and
Yep, that's all you can do.
The thing is, I think his bullpen is totally unreliable at this point. You get a great performance followed by two terrible ones. So,
well, maybe Barbieri comes back and solidifies the bullpen. I still think Whitnauer is, or Whitenauer, however you say his name, is a ninth inning guy. Don't try to stretch him out. I just don't think it's working. So
yeah, I think you're right, Pat. Don't bring him in till late in the eighth or in the ninth. So
yeah. All right, Robbie, finally, number 3 on Yes, Nowhere, Maybe with Robbie Andrew. You will watch the first round of the NFL draft.
Yeah, I'll watch the first round, Pat. I don't know if I'll watch the entire round, though. I mean, Florida will have no presence in the first round, obviously. And if you listen to the draftniks and the experts, it's not a great draft this year. So there aren't a lot of compelling names out there or blue chip guys that you really wonder where they're going. I want to see where the Vikings pick, who they get, if they have a first round pick. I'm not even sure, but yeah, I'll watch the first round, but probably not the entire round. It'll be past my bedtime by the end of it because I'm old.
Let me ask you this. Let's just say, your son came to the door with a date, right? And he said, oh, yeah, my dad used to be a sports writer. And she goes, oh, yeah, I'm really into sports. Would it bother you more if she said she was a draftnik or a recruitnik?
Oh, that's pretty much that's a toss-up, Pat, I think. I mean, they're kind of one and the same, to be honest with you. There's no real big difference there.
I hate this week. Oh, they're gonna make a trade. I can tell you it's coming, and blah 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 blah.
And then the mock drafts over and over, like
it's like
they have a mock draft every week. What's
yeah, exactly. Well, you got to have a new mock draft because we got to get clicks. So
you need clicks, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, I'll let you go, buddy. Thanks a lot.
Okay, Pat, good talking to you. We'll see you.
Okay, it is time for us to do all of our fun stuff we like to do in the third segment, and we're going to start out today with our Campus USA Play of the Weekend. Now, if you didn't see this play, and I know it didn't help because they just found ways to lose games. Hayden Yost going into the corner to catch that ball. When that happened, and again, a run scored on that play. But when that happened, I went, oh, that's my play of the weekend. There's no doubt about it. But that was a great play by Hayden Yost, and he is playing well. He's doing okay. There's some guys that aren't doing okay, but, that's the thing. They'll make all these great plays, but they don't make the routine plays. And that's what they need to start doing a better job of. All right, that is our Campus USA Play of the Weekend. It's where I bank. It's where Coach Spurrier banks. Let us move along to our Hesser and Kipke. 3 things. Hesser and Kipke, with over 50 years of combined legal experience in North and Central Florida, Hesser and Kipke is your place for bankruptcy, workers' compensation, and family law. Call or text Ken and Jennifer at 352-339-9920 Hesser. Okay, number 1 on our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. I want to salute Paula, because this is what happens when you have a weekend of great sports all over the place. But I wanted to make sure we got this. Paula Francesco was the SEC individual champ in women's golf yesterday. They're playing right now as we're recording this, so I can't update you on what they're doing, but hopefully they do well. And that's a really good golf team, women's golf team that Florida's got going. But she is an SEC champion. And I can tell you this, Paula, nobody appreciates SEC championships as much as I do. Whether it's team or individual, it matters. And so congratulations for that. Number 2, I want to get to what I remember everybody saying in the preseason, the Braves are going to be terrible. They've lost all their pitching. They've traded Max Fried, or he got in free agency. Strider's hurt. This guy's hurt. Hurston Waldrop's hurt. They're going to stink. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm not going to pay attention. And what am I having to do now? I'm having to pay attention because the Braves are not only leading, they're leading by 5 games in their division. Now, I'm not expecting it to last, but it's still pretty impressive. I know it helps when the Mets have lost 11 in a row, but it gives me reason to check the box scores. Well, not the box scores. That would be a real newspaper, which Main Street Daily News is a real newspaper, but there is not one that gives you all box scores. Anyway, let us move along from that because that's number 2 on our Hesser and Kipke 3 Things. Number 3 on our Hesser and Kipke 3 Things. The whole big story about the guy Dexter going to the Bengals was a big story. People made it a huge story, but this is what the NFL does. They do a great job of getting out there so that he goes to the Bengals, and now the Giants have the 5th and 10th pick, right before Miami picks at 11. So their 10th pick is going to be huge, of importance to Miami if you're a Miami fan. I don't know where they're going to go, but this seems like it would be a move that would allow you to get better. However, don't forget, you just traded away a guy who's a Pro Bowl caliber player. I think he was second team a couple of times. I don't know if he was first team. Anyway, I don't know that much about Dexter Lawrence. Do you? He seemed like a big guy, and yeah, he doesn't dance. That's right. So anyway, I think they to get that 10th round pick was probably a good move. We'll see. And I'll get to the draft in just a minute. Let us move along from our Hesser and Kipke 3 Things to our Adams Ribco Gator of the Weekend. It is brought to you by our good friends at Adams Ribco. The only place to go when you want barbecue. Go get some barbecue at Adams Rib Company. My good friend Adam Brewer over there. All right, our Gator of the Weekend is a guy who played baseball, and I'm still giving him Gator of the Weekend. Blake Sear did all he could do. He hit 4 home runs in 3 games, including 2 3-run homers, one that kind of won the first game and one that we thought might win the second game. However, it wasn't a good weekend for baseball, but it was a good weekend for Blake Sear. Not only that, he made an unbelievable catch. We showed you the catch that Hayden Yost made. He made an unbelievable catch in left field that allowed Florida to get out of an inning that could have been 2 more runs. So he had a big weekend. He did his best. So I'm never going to discount somebody who does his best, but it's not enough. All right, that is our Adams Ribco Gator of the Weekend. Let's get to our Leonardo's at Millhopper quick pick. Looking forward to seeing Kyle over there at Leonardo's and probably later this week. You can go get a duels there, and we've got a $25 gift certificate that will be awarded. Now, I will tell you guys, all of you that got in, I want to say 90% that got into the contest did not get any points because you picked Florida to win at least 2 in the baseball. So we're going to give you something simple here because maybe I'm just getting too abstract for you, but and you know where to send it. PatrickDooley54@gmail.com is where you send anything you want to talk about. I'm happy to talk to anybody. Or if you want to advertise, we still have one little slot open. We're trying to figure out what to do with it. But anyway, the Leonardo's at Millhopper quick pick for today is Florida FSU softball. Wednesday over in Tallahassee. I can see you picking either team. I think FSU's 14, Florida's like 7, 6, something like that. So that's your game to pick, Florida FSU softball. Try to keep it simple. And if you are not a member of another of the Patreon site, I've got so much stuff going on. I don't know why I'm doing this. We will send you a thing that you can click on, and you can be a member for a month. That's donated by Kyle Cohen over at Leonardo's at Millhopper. Okay, did I get all those words out of my mouth? All right, let's go to our Gallo Car Wash Sponge of the Week, brought to you by our friends at Gallo Car Wash, where we all get all of our cars washed, and we appreciate that. In fact, Karen was over there just the other day. Our Gallo Car Wash Sponge of the Week is Victor Wembanyama, or as we like to call him, Victor. No, Wemby. Everybody calls him Wemby. 35 in his playoff debut. That's soaking up the points right there. 6 3-pointers. He's 7'4", okay? made 6 3-pointers. And when you wonder why Alex Condon's coming back, part of it is that he's 6'10", maybe 6'11", and whatever. It depends on what shoes he's wearing, and can't make a three. There's a guy that's 5 inches taller and is knocking him down left and right. It's just incredible. He is an amazing player. All right, let us move along from our Gallo Car Wash Sponge of the Week to our Learner Law Club Team of the Week, and that will be the women's flag football team that is playing this week out in Arizona at the Fiesta Bowl. They're having this big tournament. I know they won their first 3. We're waiting to try to get some results on the last game. We'll give them to you next week or maybe Thursday. But they're doing a great job playing in flag football, which is going to, I tell you, around this country, flag football for women is going to become a sanctioned NCAA sport. I don't know that Florida is ready for it, but it wouldn't seem like it would cost a lot. When you know what would cost a lot? Getting teams there and back. Because if you're going, we're going to join the Big 12. Well, we got to fly to TCU today to play flag football. I don't know. I don't know if there's an answer there. I know there's an answer. That's a great Beach Boys song. All right, it is time for us to move to Mark Gaida presents the 12, brought to you by our friend Mark Gaida at Pepin Realty. Does a great job for them, and we enjoy his 12s every week. And this week we're going to go to softball, and this is a softball top 12 in RPI. Now, a lot of you say, well, RPI, why do you always do RPI? RPI is what they use. Now, they use other metrics, but RPI is the main one. Just live with it. Number 1. Now, see if you catch a theme here. Number 1 is Arkansas. Number 2 is Texas. Number 3 is Alabama. Number 4 is an outlier, Nebraska. Number 5 is Florida. Number 6 is Oklahoma. I think you've picked up on the theme. All SEC teams except Nebraska. Number 7 is Tennessee. Number 8 is UCLA. Number 9, Oregon. Now we got a Big Ten run. 10 is Texas Tech. They've got the young lady they're spending the money on her. 11, LSU, another SEC team. And then 12 is Duke. So it's going to be an interesting tournament this year, I think. Texas won it last year. I know, beat Texas Tech in the final. I think it's going to be fun to watch. And I'm looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to, hopefully, Florida gets there. All right, let us move along to our BMI TeleMed Overachiever of the weekend, brought to you by our friends at BMI TeleMed. Achieve and maintain with your weight loss specialist, 727-383-1677. The number to call, and you will get a discount on your order if you mention another duly noted podcast. My BMI TeleMed Overachiever of the weekend is the NFL draft as a whole. Now, I despise the NFL draft. This is one of my, as much as I love April, and you know how much I love April, because of the Masters and the National Championship and spring games and everything. The NFL draft talk is just, you just want to shoot yourself sometimes. And then you get to the final, all right, they're finally going to do it, and it takes 4 hours to draft 32 players. It's unwatchable. I don't like it. But they have made it such an event, you almost have to watch it for a while at least, just to see what's going on. It's going to be crazy in Pittsburgh. Maybe I wonder if they're going to bring out Noah Wiley from the pit. They may bring him out. They would be roaring for him. But they are the overachievers of the weekend because they keep doing it. Look, they're not. This is one thing I keep telling myself, and I keep telling other people that are my age. Nobody's trying to get to you. Nobody's trying to reach into your soul and say, you have to watch me. You have to be watching me all the time. People are trying to get the young people. It's why WrestleMania is now ESPN's lead story. It is what it is. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Watch what you want to watch. Turn it off. That's what I'm going to do. But it is a huge, and it'll get unbelievable ratings. Anyway, that is our BMI TeleMed Overachiever of the week. And let's move along to our Los Landeros Smooth Move of the weekend, brought to you by Los Landeros Tequila, my favorite tequila. and Urban Meyer's favorite tequila. Go beyond with Los Landeros Tequila. And our smooth move of the weekend belongs to John Rahm. John Rahm, with all this going on, he played like crap last week, first of all, at the Masters. There was this talk that the LIV was going to shut down. Now it looks like they're going to stay for just the end of the year. He kind of wants out. He doesn't know if he wants out. He wants to collect his money. It's a lot going through his head. What does he do? He goes out and wins by 6 shots in Mexico City. So I give him credit. There's not many times I'm going to talk about a LIV golfer winning a LIV event on this show. I can tell you that. But that is a smooth move when you can go out and win by 6 shots after the way he played last week and with all that's buzzing around the LIV Tour right now. All right. That's our Los Landeros smooth move of the weekend. Let's wrap it up as we always do with our swamp games of the week. These are the things you want to watch this week as you go forward. Brought to you by the Swamp Restaurant, where I know that my daughter was last night. I know that for a fact because my wife drove her there. And that's where you go to watch all the big sporting events, and especially because of the great drink specials, great food. Never any bad food there. It's always great. Let's go ahead and get to our Swamp games of the week. We'll start with baseball Tuesday night against JU. You may be going to the game. If you're not, you can watch it on the Plus, 6:30 start, Florida JU on Tuesday. Softball, I mentioned that before, at FSU over in Tallahassee, starts at 6 o'clock on Wednesday on ESPN. I think it's ESPN2. I wrote down ESPN, but maybe 2. It's not that hard to figure out. 26, 27. You can do it. It's on one of those channels. If you're into the Yankees Red Sox, Tuesday, Yankees at the Sox, 6:45 on TBS. You can watch it there. Also, Thursday, you can watch those two teams play at 6:10 on Fox. The draft is Thursday, as you know. It starts around 8 o'clock. It'll end about 2 in the morning. Just one round. Basketball, Philly at Boston. That's curious to see what happens there, but it's on Peacock. If you don't subscribe to Peacock, you can't watch it. Wednesday, there is an ESPN game, Orlando at Detroit. Orlando, big win over Detroit. So they're excited down in Orlando. 7 o'clock on ESPN Wednesday if you want to watch that game. There's a lot of other NBA games going on. Florida is playing golf right now. If they get to the final, I know it's going to be on the Golf Channel somewhere. Just figure it out. But we have to wait. And the men are getting ready to start. They start on Thursday, I think. But I don't think any of it's on until they get to the end. But you'll be able to figure it. You'll find it. You guys are smart. And you're smart enough to watch or listen to this podcast, and we appreciate it. Thanks to Connor O'Gara for coming on. Thanks to Robbie Andrew for coming on. And as always, thanks to Zach Rothrock for coming on board and doing such a great job as he always does. We'll be back with another show on Thursday. Can't wait to talk to Maddie Hayes about what's going on there. Until then, I am Pat Dooley. I am deep. I am way back, and I am out of here.